Yeah. So MSNBC apparently has been given the memo to be all in on this. And as you, I think, quite astutely deconstructed, the reason why this particular killing of this particular black man, or of any man, I would say, because happens white, black, yellow, brown, all over the country. This happens on a daily basis. But this particular one is for a very specific, nefarious, I'd say kind of evil 2014 midterm election voting.
Get out to vote.
Push. Get out the vote, yes. And as we were talking on Thursday, the president came out and he interrupted his vacation to say several things. New York City had a huge protest just as we were arriving.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
And this is well organized. This hands up, don't shoot. This is
hands up, don't shoot.
Which I didn't really realize. Apparently, this is what Michael Brown said. He said, "I have my hands up, don't shoot." Which we have no further evidence other than it was a meme propagated immediately. And we have to. I got so many. No, not so many, but I got quite a significant number of social media messages saying we are racist a-holes. Our so-called deconstruction is stupid. We don't know what we're talking about. And I think we really do. And I think this is so obvious what is, again, we're trying to stir up racial hatred. And it's getting to the point now where CNN is bringing in British reporters who typically do financial reports. This is who is this girl's name? She's a Brit, and her name is Zayn Asher. Dark-skinned, of course, because we really have to keep pushing it. To me, this is the racism that's happening. Is what's being shoved down your throat on CNN. And she just breaks out some numbers, which, because she's a financial reporter, and of course because it's CNN, you just have to take this for fact and for truth. And here we go.
Protests have turned ugly in Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of Michael Brown at the hands of police. But underlying the racial tensions in Ferguson is an economic
tension.
What's
with the music?
I know.
Between blacks and whites. It's a tale of two cities.
Now, you hear this? Underlying it is a tale of the blacks and the whites. And
protests have turned ugly.
This is not true. It could be the police, and you could even go as far to say white police, but you can't just say whites and blacks. This is bullshit.
In Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of Michael Brown at the hands of police. But underlying the racial tensions in Ferguson is an economic tension between blacks and whites. It's a tale of two cities, and the stark financial differences are laid bare by the numbers. I'm going to break them down for you.
I'm going to break them down for you. Who is she, Alex Jones now? I want to break this down for you.
25% of blacks in the Ferguson area live below the poverty line compared to only 11% of whites. Median income of blacks in Ferguson is about 60% of what whites make. And the unemployment rate among blacks in Ferguson is nearly 20%. That's almost double the national average among African Americans.
And by the way, no source given for these numbers. It's just big, big numbers on the screen. Yeah.
This is bull crap that is double the national average, A, but two, you could do this in Oakland and give these same numbers.
Sure.
You could do this in half the cities around the country that have large black populations, because the blacks have been screwed during the Obama revolution. It's a fact, and nobody wants to mention that. And you could do that, but just focusing on Ferguson as though it's some sort of an exception to some rule is nonsense.
Compared to white,
transparent crap.
It's having an unemployment rate in Ferguson of 6.7%. This is a city that used to be 75% white just 25 years ago, and now it is 67% black. And despite the changes in demographics over time, the police force, city government, has remained nearly all white.
By the way, I'm ashamed now to not only be a white man, but to be an American and to even be in this country.
What's this Brit got to do with anything? What does she know about anything?
Well, she's a financial girl. She has all the answers.
It's not even. Yeah,
and you should be ashamed.
PhD in finance.
Yes, and
you shouldn't bring these people on like this.
You should be ashamed of yourself, John. You there in rich white Berkeley. When are you start? When is the white cops going to start killing the black people in Oakland?
We don't have these problems in California because we're run by Democrats.
There you go.
Segregation is still a problem across America. A Brown University study showed that St. Louis, where Ferguson is located, is actually the 9th most racially segregated city in the U.S.
Wow, the top 10 though. I mean, the 9th. What is that? Oh man, that's no good.
Are they talking about St. Louis? They're talking about Ferguson. They're talking about East St. Louis. What are they talking about? East St. Louis is in Illinois. I don't know.
So you get the idea of that. I don't have to play all of what she said. The comments from the New Yorkers.
Here's the joke of this. This is going to CNN, which is mostly a liberal and middle and independent white audience. There's no blacks in the world that watch CNN. They just wouldn't do it because it's such a lily white network.
Yeah.
That's why they would put the black woman on.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of covered. They got 2 check boxes to hit. You might be lesbian too, so you can hit 3 check boxes. Get it out of the way.
And by the way, people, I know how it sounds, but no, we're not raving Republicans here. We really aren't. We're just people who are looking at something objectively without the cultural Marxism of political correctness and just seeing some obvious issues with this reporting. Or whatever you want to call it.
So I don't know what this expects to accomplish except to reconfirm the preconceived notions of the liberals who watch CNN. And I mean, if they haven't, if they're not watching MSNBC. So this is not really getting done what needs to get done, which is to get out the black vote. Because this is not accomplishing that. The New York protests will do something that will have an effect.
Well, although when you listen to what the New Yorkers are saying, the ones that are featured in this report is, let's see.
Hands up!
Well, I think it's beautiful that everybody gathered here in solidarity. However, I feel as though it's not really going to bring much of a change. It's like it's a good thing to do. It's good to show that we're here and we stand for something and we all agree and we want change. But what will be the result of us standing here with our hands up today?
Now, I agree. You should change your Twitter icon. I think that's what you're missing here, people.
No, I think it's like a scab being picked constantly and constantly. It's like these cases happen so many times. I was at a Sean Bell march when we all marched for him. Just a few weeks ago, Eric Garner was killed. There was a young man shot in L.A. 2 days ago in his back.
You know, when I was watching this, the first thing that popped into my head, of course, because of the family reunion, was no one ever marches for the dead Marines or dead Iraqis or dead anybody. There's no outrage. There's no protest. There's 240 people die predominantly from the Netherlands, die in an aircraft. There's no one on the street protesting. Yeah, of course, we're happy to blame the guy who's it's clearly. Yeah.
We're shot in the back. That's the deal.
Oh, okay. They weren't shot in the back. They were only downed. It doesn't count if you're downed. You don't get any respect if you're downed. You have to be shot in the back, yes.
And he was unarmed African-American. Over and over and over, we see these things happen. And I think that we become numb to them, we heal, and we move on. And with this Mike Brown thing, it was just like so blatant, so brazen, and we're really upset.
It's not. It's just not so blatant and brazen. I'm just sorry. It's not true. And this is now bothersome as it turns out. From what we know from the police reports, it's not proof either. But what is being reported, and certainly not contradicted at the time, is that he had just robbed the convenience store, and that was before this happened. And then this is how MSNBC just says that is not important. That is not what is important in this, because you've already been given the narrative, you've been given the story. We have no evidence to back it up other than, someone's dead. That's the evidence.
I mean, how much does this complicate things?
This is MSNBC. How much does it complicate things that he just robbed a convenience store before that?
And do you think might this fact,
thank you,
be something that instills uncertainty within this community, which has become a lot calmer overnight?
There's going to be absolutely no uncertainty within this community. The people in the community feel that Michael Brown was murdered in cold blood and left like an animal on the streets, because some will want to connect.
Left like an animal on the streets, murdered in cold, like an animal on the streets.
He was left. They left him there. They shot him and then just left him there. Is that what he's saying?
That's essentially. I'm sorry to use
I'm on the
that
streets.
word. And just roll it back. Let's make sure we hear
yes.
it.
I'm sorry I didn't have the buzzer.
Within this community, the people in the community feel that Michael Brown was murdered in cold blood and left like an animal in the streets. Because some would want to connect the fact that he may have stole a pack of cigarillos that cost $1 in a store to his characteristics as a person, whether he was a thug or violent, and which could have led to some sort of violent confrontation with the police. But as the case unfurls, the facts will have to matter. The ballistic evidence will have to matter. And so as we learn more about exactly what happened, I think it'll be clear, what happened in those moments right before that police officer fired that first shot. That's what matters.
Well,
Okay.
But this is what MSNBC is doing, and here we have Luke Russert, who is a son of the famous predecessor predecessor to Chip Gregory, who is now out. And isn't it crazy that we went from Chip to Chuck?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Here is Luke Russert, and he does correct himself from what I think is a libelous statement. And I don't. Since he corrects himself, I guess it's okay. But it even.
And you actually, there's a number of exceptions to libel laws, and if you're a news media, you have a defined moment where you can correct yourself, run a correction or whatever, and you won't get charged. But it's interesting that he would make a mistake in the first place.
NBC's Ron Allen joins us live now from Ferguson on more what to expect over the next few hours. And Ron, obviously last night was a real change what we saw a few nights ago. There is a sort of unity between police and protesters, at least in understanding, and peace was there. But the big news this morning is we expect to hear for the first time the name of the officer who was involved in the murder of Michael Brown, or the killing of Michael Brown.
Oops. But that's the thinking. That is what they're all thinking over there.
Yeah, that's actually a very good catch. In fact, great catch. They're all thinking murder,
and then and
that's the media.
Yeah, and the president. I did clip a little piece from his interrupting his vacation on Thursday to speak about ISIS, ISIL, take your pick, and what happened in Ferguson.
Never an excuse for violence against police or for those who would use this tragedy as a cover for vandalism or looting. There's also no excuse for police to use excessive force against peaceful protests or to throw protesters in jail for lawfully exercising their First Amendment rights. And here in the United States of America, police should not be bullying or arresting journalists who are just trying to do their jobs.
Yeah, that's what the administration is supposed to do. That you police aren't supposed.
This job,
Mr. Risen from Fox. We're supposed to. Yeah, we're supposed
the
to.
Free speech zones around the conventions. Free speech zones.
Yeah, this is
what's that all about?
Yeah, you can't throw. No, but the police shouldn't be doing it. It's the national government. It's the administration that gets to throw journalists in jail and arrest them and indict them. That's our job, hey?
And report to the American people on what they see on the ground. Put simply, we all need to hold ourselves to a high standard, particularly those of us in positions of authority.
I agree. Right on.
This is the police department. You are violating the state-imposed curfew. You must continue to disperse peacefully, or you will be subject to arrest and/or other actions.
I thought this was a joke. This really is audio from Ferguson. It sounds so authentic. As in like movie authentic.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Play it again.
Okay. Happy to do that.
This is the police department. You are violating the state-imposed curfew. You must continue to disperse peacefully, or you will be subject to arrest and/or other actions.
What's the other action?
Freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world, and you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothes.
This is the police department.
Yeah, it fits.
You are violating the state-imposed curfew.
It fits perfectly.
It does. You got to make a mashup of those things.
Yeah. unfortunately,
anyway,
will be adding.
Anyway, I don't see that we're contributing anything more than the basic thesis.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't see any. I didn't get anybody bitching.
Other than the other than the.
I mean, I don't understand why people would complain.
Well, there's something. There's one other thing here. This is St. Louis, the prosecutor, and you recall on Thursday we had a couple clips from some Democrat local politicians, state senators, who in fact claimed that this had been a execution style shooting.
Yeah, right. Talk about irresponsible.
Yeah, and so they were out in full force, and we had I don't know how to have a clip. It was uninteresting for me. It was Rachel Maddow had her alter ego, Chris. What's his name? Chris Hayes. Out in the streets in the rain, and he was talking to the same state senators, and they were all saying Robert McCullough has to go. He is the state prosecutor, and when you look this guy up, I remember him back in the day when he had, I think, Axl Rose arrested because he'd beat up some people, which is probably proper, and there was big protests, and can't have him, and then there was the 2001 Jack in the Box shooting. So it's really an overthrow of all power in St. Louis, justified or not. That's what it is. It's to get everybody out.